Very soon, the first of what will likely total at least 100 Afghan refugees are expected to arrive in southern Vermont, and some of them will be relocated in Bennington County. They are part of what is likely to be a group of about 250 Afghans forced to leave their home country last August, when its government fell and a chaotic emergency airlift began. Local residents and organizations have emerged to help them adjust to a new life in what for them will be a strange and different country. Bennington County Open Arms is one such volunteer group, and they are working in conjunction with the Brattleboro-based Ethiopian Community Development Council, a U.S. State Department-authorized refugee resettlement agency. Recently, they held a training session at the St. James Episcopal Church in Arlington for local volunteers who want to help the arriving Afghan refugees get settled and on the road to rebuilding their lives. That's where we met up with Thomas Huddleston, a co-sponsorship manager at the Ethiopian Community Development Council, who described some of the needs facing the new Vermonters.
Well, I mean, most people come to Vermont because they already have ties here. They have family here, they grew up here, they were educated here, they got a job here. Refugees don't get to choose where they go. They don't even get to choose to leave their country. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we find welcoming communities who can be supporting and sponsoring them so that they can find their futures here. We have been finding a lot of great apartments in Bennington. So we might have a dozen, maybe 20 people, families with young kids who will quickly be going to school and learning English. The Afghan allies who were able to get out of Afghanistan often still have family there and need to send money back. So families are going to be very quickly looking for jobs and working. And we have great support here with Bennington County Open Arms to help them adjust to the community, navigate the place, and make friendships here. Coming to the United States is a big culture shock for these Afghans who did not want to leave their country and who faced the complete collapse of this evacuation. So they're facing a great moment of sadness in their lives, and it's really helpful for them to know that they are welcome from others. So letting a refugee know that they are welcome is already a great step. And then connecting with Bennington County Open Arms to figure out how you, with your particular skills, can help them find their path in the United States. That could be helping the kids with their homework. It could be driving people to medical appointments that they might have. It could be helping people figure out how to write an American resume or prepare for a job interview. It could be donating some of your old furniture or old clothes. I mean, these are all different ways that Bennington County Open Arms is asking us to become welcoming communities for our new Afghan neighbors.
The training that Mr. Huddleston led covered a variety of areas.
So I'm going to first help you be mentally prepared for this process of resettlement by really walking you through how refugee resettlement normally works for refugees from around the world, and how the system is working today for the Afghan emergency evacuations. And I would like to have the last hour really focused on how you can be emotionally prepared to be effectively partnering with refugees, because this process will expose you to things that you've never had to deal with before. And it's good to know what are the assets that you have within you that you can draw on, and also what are some of the weaknesses that you have to be aware of for yourself and for your team.
Ananda Rupa, himself a Vietnamese refugee, and Grace Winslow are coordinators of the Bennington County Open Arms. They brought us up to date on what will be happening locally and what the primary needs of the refugees are.
Now, I see you signed a memorandum of understanding with ECDC. What does that mean? Is that just sort of a technical procedure that allows you to kind of work back and forth together, or is there more to it than that?
We have to have 7 volunteers for each family. So if we sign the MOU and saying that those families or that family is going to be working with a certain number of these 7 volunteers, and that we agree that we will maintain confidentiality, and that we will ensure that they have everything for their homes. We will ensure that they have prepared foods when they arrive, that they have groceries in the refrigerator, that they have a certain amount of space. There are a lot of things. It's an MOU. It's also it's a agreement that we'll provide certain things, and ECDC will also provide support services and other things.
And if I may add to that, Grace, and it's important MOU is just really the legality of it, because technically ECDC is still responsible for these refugees through the State Department to be in the United States legally. And we're just co-sponsored to help, as Grace said, to do all these activities, support to help this new family settle in Bennington County. So in a legal status, yes, ECDC is still responsible for these people, but we have to help to just settle them in our homes. How many comes to Bennington County? It really depends on how many housing we have, and as you know, housing is a big shortage here. So, like this afternoon, we're going to go look at another potential apartment for our new arrival. So if your viewers, anyone have potential apartments to rent, you can always contact us at bcopenarms@gmail.com. If you have a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment for rent in Bennington County.
So the main thing that we need right now in terms of help are, number 1, we need housing. Number 2, we need more core volunteers. We love our volunteers, and we love to have things given to us, that because we certainly need to fill the apartments with things that they can use, and that they will need for the next year as they're learning to resettle in the United States, because they come literally with nothing. And if you can imagine moving to a foreign country with nothing, knowing no one, having no money. So we're trying to start them off on the right foot. But we really need right now is core volunteers who are able and willing to take on some work with individual families for several hours a week, 8, maybe 5, maybe. And we need core volunteers that are willing to do it over a period of time. The suggestion is to commit to 9 months. If you can't commit 9 months, we maybe can use you for a few months, but certain areas of need, we do have to have people that are ready and willing to step in and provide support for that full 9 months, such as cultural adjustment. Cultural adjustment volunteers are going to have to be ready to essentially be a friend, and not drop that family in a short term. If you have interest in working in health, we need people to help in health. But again, that's an ongoing need. It's not something that you can do it for a month and then stop. We're going to need people for 9 months. So if you are a volunteer who doesn't have a substantial amount of time for that, I should say 8 hours a week for 9 months, we might be able to find a place for you, helping do things like set up an apartment or do grocery shopping to get ready for the family to come. But what we really need the most is the core volunteers who are committed for a long term. So those kinds of things, that we take for granted a lot of the time, they're going to have to, that's going to be a learning experience for them. And then they need to learn their neighborhood. We have volunteers that will introduce them to like nearby shopping, nearby playgrounds for the kids, things like that. So
and how about health-wise? You have to take them.
And health-wise, they all get health screenings. So we have to set up appointments for those, and we have to find them primary health care providers. And I don't know if you've applied to a primary health care provider in the recent past, but there's many pages. It's like a long job application, essentially. So once we've got that all established, then we can sort of relax and let them sort of have their decide what they want to do a little bit more. But there are certain things that we do have to accomplish with them. They are very highly motivated to work. They have family in Afghanistan still. And as you may know, Afghanistan is in a little bit of a pickle right now. They don't have, there's a food shortage. There are lots of people that are displaced because of the political instability recently. So displaced people living in substandard shelters in the middle of winter with very little food for anyone right now. And they're in very difficult circumstances. So the families that are coming here are going to want to work at the very least to support their own families that are here with them, but also to support their families in Afghanistan.
The first refugees from Afghanistan, who a year ago at this time never expected to be living in Vermont, could be arriving in the first half of January. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.